Okay, I got noticed something for perhaps for the first time. I'm not sure. I definitely noticed it this time, and that's a lot of movement with your picking hand. A lot of movement, especially on the gallop thing. And I can also hear that there was a lack of palm mute when you change strings on the gallop part. But the goal was to have all of it palm muted. So I want to attack this in a new way. And this is something that worked really damn good for me, getting some sweet picking patterns pretty damn fast. Um, just tiny little bits, tiny little things here. Or to quote Mr. Grady, chunking. We're just going to do a little chunk. Little piece, little chunk here. I'm going to have you go up in ones. Yeah, just ones. Ones. Yes, indeed. So here's the thing. I think you asked something like, sorry, it's been like several hours since I watched it now. I watched it earlier today. Now I got everyone's stuff ready to go to make. Asking if you should eliminate the thumb being bent and going that route and swiping. Well, here's the biggest thing. Sorry, I got dry eyes today. If you don't like the sound of it, that's the answer right there. You can't do it. That's the biggest thing. So if you're not liking the sound, it's not getting you the result that you want, then we gotta get rid of it. So that's why I want you to go up in ones. And you're going to be going much slower than you want. I assume. I might be wrong. You might end up going a hell of a lot faster. I don't know. So let me use this pick today. It's going to be easier to see. I'm going to do close-ups again. So yeah, going up in ones because we're going to be super, super disciplined. Now, this is just going to be for the first two things. The down picking was great. That number 3, that was awesome to see. Like, you definitely made a lot of improvement on that. Like, your down picking palm mute speed there, that's gone up. You absolutely increased your speed. So, fantastic there. So, yeah, getting this palm mute thing down, getting better at that. Downward slant or upward escape motion. That looked like a rude gesture. Shit. Yeah, we're gonna be super disciplined with this. So basically, as you're going faster, you got to really pay attention to that thumb. As soon as you notice your thumb goes from flat to bent, you gotta just put it back. Basically, this is forbidden right now. Forbidden. At least for 1 and 2. Just for 1 and 2 right now. If it ends up happening with number 3 and you still get the desired result, then fair game. But, so yeah, to get rid of excess swiping, let's call it that, excess swiping. Because the swiping stuff, yeah, as long as it sounds good, then who cares? But if it's not sounding good, and that's kind of the impression I get, you're not really sure if it sounds right or not, or sometimes you did say it just didn't sound right, didn't sound good, didn't want it on your album, then yeah, we got something to address. I personally don't like the sound of a lot of things when the thumb is bent. Like that. It's not really sounding as bad as I expected. Because I know sometimes I've heard people do that. And it gets that kind of sound to it. Yeah, it's not coming through. It's not sounding as terrible as some amp setups are. Because I know, like, sometimes people like bend their thumb like that. They think like, oh, well, you have to angle the pick this way to go fast. You don't. You definitely don't. It just has like a lot of scrapey, kind of shuffly sound to it, like, and yeah, the notes aren't articulating very well. But anyway, let's see. So yeah, going up in ones, and basically, get a good close up here. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be like angled terribly, like really, really down like that. Like, see what I'm doing this, it's almost parallel to the strings. It's just barely slanted at all. So the other thing I want you to experiment or try, I can't remember if we talked about this, possibly. I might be thinking of somebody else, but I do notice that your hand is like this. Like, so like doing palm muty stuff when your knuckles are in the way, like that makes it a lot harder to have the pick go like this, you know, because you got your knuckles getting in the way of the strings. So I mean, I guess you kind of like put your knuckles out and kind of get them away from the strings a bit. Now I can see that kind of causing unwanted tension, because now you're trying to, you know, stick your fingers out like that and being kind of trying to do this sort of thing. And that feels freaking awkward and horrible. So I remember like a student I worked with a while ago, he also like had like a fist when he did a lot of stuff, and it just got in the way of the strings. But I noticed, like, for me, like, as long as I get my fingers out, now I have a lot more room to play with here. See, as soon as I get my knuckles involved, well, now I can't reach the strings. See? Now get my knuckles out of the way, now I can. So now that kind of pushes the pick away. Well, I'm not now. My knuckles are touching the strings. So if I'm trying not to touch the string with my knuckles, now it's just harder to reach the string with the pick. So I want you to try and do this as well. Get your fingers out of there. Get those three, get them away. Get those out of there. So when you're doing this, and I think we may talk about this too, like maybe having your pinky up under the pickup portion right here. Your guitar is set up a little bit different, but something like that, you know, but basically just have your hand open like that. And you should be able to keep the palm mute down. So, yeah, I mentioned like it's sort of like a lot of movement with your hand. So it shouldn't be moving a whole heck of a lot when you're doing all this palm mute stuff. You want to keep it really, really steady. So, just some things to think about when you're doing this. So, again, working it up in ones, and then when you get to a point where, you know, the thumb's really starting to kick in, let's just say 120 for this, just to pick a number. So let's say it starts to do this at 120. So maybe, all right, let's say 119, like, yep, thumb is not doing the bendy thing, and you're still able to make some good motions here. You go to 120, and all of a sudden, the thumb just goes like that. If that's the case, like, keep trying your best at 120 to straighten that thumb out. As soon as you notice it bend, stop, and try it again. As soon as you notice it bend, stop, and try it again. Keep putting it in the right position, or the position we're trying to, you know, the technique we're trying to develop. So yeah, as soon as it goes into that, stop immediately. You gotta catch it, stop immediately, put it back where it's supposed to be for our new technique we're trying to develop. And only when you can play this line 100% all the way through with the straight thumb, we'll just call it straight thumb, then you go up. Just one. But, let's say like you get to that 120 and it takes several attempts to finally get it right, then you can start doing some repeats there. Try playing like 4 times in a row this piece right here. So basically the first 2 bars 4 times in a row. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I'll just demonstrate this at, well, let's just start at 120, because I know that's one of those speeds that's, I'll say, questionable. Oh, and also, you're 100% correct about the tab being wrong. I screwed up. I got my 5s and 7 mixed up on that. So, thank you. That is correct. Yeah, always point that stuff out to me if it looks wrong. I'm glad you figured that out. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, the way I did it in the video, that was the intended way. Okay, here we go. again, straight thumb, open hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep that hand like pretty steady there. So again, like we don't want this. We're trying to get away from that. So, gotta get away from that. Keep the hand open. Keep the thumb straight. Really minimize that movement. Let's go to 130. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, here is 140. I just played at a few different angles. Now you notice my thumbs do that little bend, but it's not that. It's bending because it's doing the picking. Let me try and just keep it straight. That's tough. And then yeah, once you reach that speed where it takes quite a few attempts to make the thumb go straight again, just repeat. So everything's got to be palm muted there. Alright, so we're going to do the same idea with this. Making sure that you keep the hand open and keep the thumb from turning into this. Yeah, the redoing the gallop, the previous gallop, it did sound better. It definitely sounded better. It was much cleaner. So that is better. Whether it was this like accidental or messy swiping, that I'm not sure, because I didn't go back and watch it again. It could have been that, but it did seem like, I don't know, sounded like notes were in the wrong spot, but yeah, you could be bad swiping. That is quite possible. But you did improve on it, so that's very good. But yeah, I'm going to go up on ones on this one as well. And again, as soon as you start to go into that type of thing, stop. Every time you catch it, stop and put it back. Open the hand up, keep the hand open, and don't let the thumb do this. Do it like that. All right, so let's see. Let's do this one at 90. I think that's a, whoops, wrong thing open. I think that might be a speed where things start getting kind of tough for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, and just go up with ones on that guy. So here's 100. See how pretty stationary that is? So yeah, we don't want to be doing it like this and like, that's too much movement. So keep it stationary as much as you can. So that's why we're going to go up in ones. So this way you got the best chance of success. Yeah, don't do that. Keep it all palm muted. And really watch that right hand. Like, look at it. Make sure it's not going into the to the bent thumb way. And then, just like the previous thing, once you reach a speed where it takes quite a few attempts to get that thumb to straighten back out, do some repeats. So, again, we got to go real slow with this. Probably not going to get as fast as you might like. But that's just going to have to be the case for right now until this is basically fixed. It's going to be it's a tall order. I really do feel it's a tall order because, I mean, you've been playing for quite some time. You got the habit. You've been doing what feels natural. Unfortunately, the natural feeling thing is not suiting you well for certain things. So we gotta change it up. So it's like with lifting. It's like, say, like doing squats. Could you lift more weight by using form that we know could be injurious? Sure. But, like when you see someone doing that, like you don't, well, I don't want to word this. Like if I'm doing a squat and I know like I like round the back or whatever in such a way that, oh yeah, I could definitely lift more if I did it like that. It's like, yeah, but then you risk injury doing it that way. It's like, yeah, but I can lift more. Well, you keep doing it like that, eventually you will, I would get injured, and then I can't go any higher, and I gotta take, rest and all that stuff to get recovered. Obviously, you're not going to injure yourself the same way working on the guitar, but I like the same idea can be applied here. So you got to make sure like each BPM you do, the technique is just spot on. So, learning how to lift, you got to make sure that the technique is really solid. You got to make sure all the technique stays solid the entire time. Every time you increase the weight, the technique's got to be there. If you increase the weight and it's having a tough time keeping the technique together, well, you don't increase the weight until the technique is right. So we don't increase the speed until the technique is right. Same kind of thing. All right, so this guy here, I'm going to have, not that chord. So you got like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's the pattern there. Ba, 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 ba. So if you need to work up that specific pattern, definitely do so. So let's say at 200 beats per minute, you're just not able to keep up with drop it down to like maybe 180, try it there. If that's not working, drop it down to 160. And let's say 160, yes, you can do the, great, then go to 165, 170, and keep doing that until you get up to the 200. So you just need to get like the first bar at 200 to begin, work it up if you need to, and so we know you can definitely downpick that fast, but the actual palm mute accent pattern, that could prove problematic. So work that up if you need to, just the one bar. But then, yeah, as far as playing this guy, same kind of setup. Gonna be just hitting that first bar at 200 to get going. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that better. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bars, including the last chord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, twice through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Three times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 times through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Ah, damn it, I hit a bad chord. My arm's getting tired. Alright, give that a second and try again. Okay, 4 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. 3. Woo! Okay. I think that covers it. So I hope all that makes sense. And I forgot to mute my phone. Shame on me. But yeah, any questions, let me know. And yeah, we'll see you again in your new videos. Whoops, sorry. I went to hit stop and now things are jumping all over the screen. All right, here we go.